Do you know the most asked question about Somaliland is why it is not recognized? I want to change that question and say why Somaliland is not recognized. Meanwhile, Syria and Senegal are recognized. The reason I'm saying this is because these three countries share the following. They all entered or attempted to go into a union with their neighbor. Things did not work out, and then they walked away without the consent or the approval of the other country they were uniting with. So let's take this one by one. First of all, they all have agreed to create a new entity instead of merging into the existing entities of either theirs or their neighbor. So Somaliland did not say, I will dissolve and become just part of Somalia. The agreement was to create a Somali republic, which made of the two. So Somaliland and Somalia should cease to exist, and then Somali Republic should be the new country. Same thing with Mali and Senegal. They both the agreement was, and that's how the Mali Federation was formed. And then you have Syria and Egypt, and that was the same thing. Now, that's one common thing they all done. After another thing is that all this union was voluntarily. It wasn't through the a third party or a colonizer that said, "Hey, you guys need to be configured this way." Okay, they all decided by themselves to start this journey with their free will. Okay, after that, they all have decided, Senegal and Syria and Somaliland, that it is not working. It turns out quite more often that unions don't work, especially in these countries, in Africa and Asia. And then what happened is that they all did not seek to get the permission of their neighbor. They all just decided to move out. Somaliland did it through a bloody uh, liberation movement. Syria did it through a coup, but Senegal was really luckier because they just went to parliament and said this is not working, basically. Now, the how the world reacted to this is where the similarity end. Okay, and so first thing is that their neighbors they all rejected the withdrawal. Mali was upset that Senegal moved out from the federation. Egypt said they will not recognize Syria until there's a free will exercise that we know what Syrians really want. So Jamal Abdel Nasser did not recognize Syria and he held on the name United Arab Republic for 10 years. Okay. Somalia, we know the story. Till today, even though Somaliland is successful in so many ways, Somaliland is not recognized by Somalia. Okay, so that's where the reaction was from the immediate countries. And as I said, this is where the similarity ends. Now, while in that period of uh, conflict, what happened is Syria was recognized by the United States just after a few months on the fear that, you know, it was the Cold War. They were fearing that the Soviet Union might recognize them first. So the US went ahead and recognized Syria, even though technically they did not get approval from the United Arab Republic. What happened with the Senegal? The same day that Senegal announced that they withdraw from the Mali Federation, both France and UK recognized them immediately. They did not wait for Mali or the Mali Federation, because that's now the new entity. They did not wait for that to accept the reality and also withdraw. All right. So this is a cases where big countries in the permanent members of the Security Council, breaking what they usually call the the international law and saying that, well, every union should be dissolved or should be ended through talks and agreements. Okay, so the question now arises why Somaliland did not have that. So it's actually a question that they have to answer. Okay, because even politically speaking, Somaliland is so much in a better position than being with Somalia, even back then and even now more. Okay, so another thing I forgot to say is that all these countries now are doing better by being separate than with their with their neighbor or the country they were uniting with. They all lived and existed longer than the period of that unity. Okay, this is true even for Somaliland. The period that Somaliland has been independent and sovereign outside of Somali Republic is longer than the period that they were in within the Somali Republic. Also, Somaliland, as you can see from this Venn diagram, has actually more compelling reasons to recognize it. It went through a genocide where 200,000 people have died, under the actions and the war crimes and the genocide by Siad Barre. They have, transformed from that into a democracy. They have, become a place that is more secure, out without piracy and terrorism, even though they are on the more strategic area of the Horn of Africa. Also, and this is one of the strongest argument, there was no union when we talk legally. You can say there was a de facto union or unilateral union, act of union in case of Somaliland, because the act of union that Somaliland brought in was not signed and the referendum was not accepted. And there was even a coup to return things back to how they were, but they didn't work for Somaliland. Let's say Somaliland took a longer time to withdraw, uh, in terms of actual reality. But when it comes to legality, Somaliland actually shouldn't even try to withdraw because it didn't really happen legally. Okay, if that makes sense. So that's the story here. So I hope you ask the question this way instead of just saying why Somaliland is not recognized. Every one of you should say why Somaliland is not recognized. Meanwhile, Syria and Senegal are recognized. Thank you very much.